Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of Empowered in Health. I am so glad you're here as always to join the conversation. We talk about everything from fitness to nutrition to mental health, mindset, motherhood, protecting our peace, cultivating good habits, and so much more. Today I want to dive into what are the 5 focuses you can really put into practice for your health over the holidays, and how can they essentially really help you feel your best during this season. Let's face it, the holidays are an incredibly crazy awesome time, but they can also be super overwhelming and stressful. And so what can we do to really prioritize our health? What can we do to really help ourselves feel our best? Those things matter, right? All of that can really make a difference in how we feel in our days. So I want to talk about 5 different focuses you can work on in order to really help yourself into the new year. Okay, so here's number 1. Number 1 is movement. And I'm sure you've heard this. We all hear it very much in the health and wellness space. You'll hear people talking all the time about the importance of movement, why it matters, how it can help with diminishing stress, getting endorphins flowing, helping us feel energized and, just excited in our days. Getting movement in matters. And really the reason is it's a stress reducer. And during a season when there's a lot going on, it can be overwhelming. There's a lot on our plates, from wrapping up things for work to social gatherings to kid activities and so much more. Anything we can do for our bodies to help release some level of stress and anxiety and overwhelm is crucial for our inside out wellness. So make sure that you're moving, make sure that you're finding something that brings you joy, and make sure that you give yourself permission to move in a different way every single day, because it doesn't have to be the same, right? That's something that we have to constantly remind ourselves when it comes to our health and wellness journey is every day is going to look a little bit different, and that's okay, especially when it comes to movement, right? So one day it might be a walk with a friend. One day it might be just some simple low impact yoga or stretching. One day it might be a really intense workout class, right? Whatever it is, just make sure that you're getting some level of movement in and letting your body really continue to move the energy that you're feeling inevitably during a crazy busy season like the holidays. Okay, so movement is number 1. Number 2 is nutrition. And sometimes this can be a little bit tricky to talk about, especially during the holidays, especially during, times of celebration and events and a lot of things going on. Clearly, the holiday season is filled with indulgences and treats and things that we love to enjoy from a food standpoint, right? A lot of us have traditions that we are passing down to our families, meals and foods and things that we've just had for generations that maybe are important to us. Maybe there are new things we're implementing that are centered around food. The reality is when we're gathering with people and when we're celebrating different kinds of things like a holiday or some level of celebration, there's typically food involved. And so nutrition is one of the things I want to talk about. And I want to make sure that I'm really talking about this in a way that helps you understand that holiday seasons are during certain points in the year, right? They're not something that we're consistently going through all the time. And that's the biggest thing to remember when it comes to a health focus like nutrition is at the end of the day, what we do consistently is what matters most, right? So if you are going to activities or going to celebrations or indulging and enjoying yourself, that is the name of the game, right? Nutrition and health and wellness overall have a massive mental and emotional component to it. And when it comes to things like how we fuel our bodies, we want to make sure we're giving ourselves permission to enjoy, right? At the same time, we also want to make sure that we're giving ourselves permission to really assess what helps us feel good, right? What helps us feel energized, what helps fuel our bodies well. Like those things are really important to ask ourselves. And so for me personally, and this is something that I talk through with my clients, there's a couple things that I really look at and try to consider when it comes to nutritional habits, especially during busy seasons and vacations and holidays and seasons like this. I'm always prioritizing protein, right? Protein helps you stay full. Protein is huge for, muscle development and so much more. And it is a crucial piece to our inside out health and wellness and our nutritional practices, right? So make sure that you're prioritizing protein. That is something that I'm constantly working on. And my goal is at least 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight for me and my body, in whatever capacity that feels good, right? And, that's different for each of us because we obviously have different body compositions and different goals and things along those lines. So that is one piece, prioritizing protein. The other big thing is making sure that you're getting a variety of micronutrients as often as possible, right? So vegetables and fruits and a different variety of foods inside your body as often as possible. Those things are really good from a nutrient and mineral standpoint, and it's also really good for your just inside out wellness, right? So getting a variety of micronutrients as often as possible. And then again, the third piece is, again, more of the mental and emotional component. It's like giving yourself permission to say, I want to enjoy what's valuable to me or what's important to me or what matters to me in this season. And I'm not going to do that with guilt or shame or this agenda of I have to, quote unquote, make up for it in some way. That's not the way to think about nutrition. Nutrition is all about thinking about the energy we want to give our bodies, thinking about the energy we want to give our brains, and thinking about how can I really focus in on doing that as much as I can, controlling what I can, and then letting myself enjoy what I can too, right? Because again, the mental and emotional component is huge to overall wellness. And so the nutrition focus has to include that. You have to include the mindset and emotional pieces to it because they're huge and they're really important to continually talk about. So the first two, again, are movement as far as health focuses, and then nutrition, just controlling what you can, right? Prioritizing protein, getting micronutrients in, and just enjoying, right? Number 3 is hydration. And this is a big one. You know, it's easy for us to get dehydrated really quickly when we're busy, when we're stressed, when we're running around. We forget to utilize, important things like drinking water and electrolytes and stuff like that. Our bodies need that for fuel. They need that in order to feel really good. And so make sure that you're hydrating well. I always have a water bottle with me whenever I'm going around, town in the car, when I'm running errands, even around the house. I always have a water bottle filled up somewhere on my kitchen counter or somewhere that I can grab as a reminder to continually hydrate, right? Like having that visual reminder is huge. So make sure that you're getting proper hydration, again, to just keep your body feeling energized and just good, right? Okay, number 4, rest. And this can sometimes be hard to come by, right? Especially in the holiday season, lots going on, work events, kids events, up late, all those kinds of things. But getting rest and adequate sleep is huge, not only for repair and recovery for our bodies, but also to keep our immune systems in optimal shape, right? Like having a healthy, strong immune system, especially in a season where there's a lot of extra indulgences and less sleep and those kinds of added stressors on our bodies, like making sure that we have as much quality rest as possible is crucial when it comes to health focuses over the holiday season. So make sure that you're doing everything that you can to protect your sleep, right? How are you winding down? How are you turning off notifications? How are you helping yourself just get the most quality rest possible? It's huge for our health, and it's just a crucial piece, not only for our physical body, but also for our brain, right? Like our mental and emotional pieces, or the mental and emotional pieces to our health, need that quality rest, okay? And then the last one is unplug. And this seems like, maybe kind of basic, but this is something that I've actually personally evaluated quite a bit on my Inside Out Wellness journey over the past handful of years, especially over the holiday season. And for me personally, I have unplugged for like 2 to 3-ish weeks from social media over the holidays. I plan to do the same this year. And it has been such a gift. It has been such a gift to be able to unplug from the place where I'm getting all kinds of notifications, having all kinds of conversations, connecting, also comparing, kind of shutting that off and allowing myself to really be present in the season and like focusing most on where my feet are is such a gift. And it's done wonders for my mental and emotional well-being over the past handful of years. And it's just something that I want to empower you to think about too, right? Maybe there's something that you want to really unplug from over the next handful of weeks, right? What does that look like? How can you get intentional about your boundaries? How can you get mindful about where you're spending your time and energy? How are you really working to be as present as possible with the people that matter to you, right? Does that look like setting specific expectations with your team at work? Does that look like unplugging from social media? Does that look like shutting down your inbox or shutting down your email for a little bit of time, right? I think we live in such a fast-paced world that we get tricked into believing that we're going to miss all the things if we're not constantly plugged in. But the truth is, whatever you need to do in your current season, which if it's the holidays, which it is for us, it's just so important to stay grounded in where you are. And remember that work is always going to be there, right? The things are always going to be there. You're always going to be able to pick up where you left off. And it's really important to kind of evaluate what makes the most sense for your inside out wellness and how can you essentially really help your mental and emotional well-being with habits and focuses like unplugging from technology. So again, for me, I'm going to be unplugging from social for the next 2.5 weeks or so. I get really intentional about when I'm checking my email, when I'm on my phone, when I'm on any kind of computer or device. What does that look like? How long? I've really tried to work hard on boundaries, and I'm a constant work in progress. Some days I do great, and some days I need more work, right? But I think, again, that mindful practice of understanding, like, this can be a health focus for me. Unplugging can be a health focus. What does that look like? How do I unplug? Why am I unplugging? What is it doing for my health? And what are the boundaries and expectations I need to set up around that, right? So those are the 5 focuses, and I'll kind of share them and recap them here one more time. Number 1, movement. Number 2, nutrition. 3, hydration. 4, rest, quality sleep, things like that. And 5, unplugging, right? Those 5 focuses over the holiday season will do wonders for your health, right? They are very simple, but they're not always easy to implement, right? So it does take some planning and some mindful practice to say, this is when I'm going to commit to moving. This is how I'm going to think strategically about what I'm eating in order to fuel my body for energy and feel energized. Here's my tip and trick for staying hydrated. What kind of visual reminder can I give myself? How am I intentionally resting at night and winding down to make sure that I'm getting quality rest? And then again, what boundaries maybe am I setting related to unplugging from all of the things, social media, work, emails, notifications, all the stuff, right? I think one thing I want to wrap up with before I end this podcast episode is this idea of doing this through the holiday season, right? Not necessarily waiting until the new year. Oftentimes, people will start talking about their goals and they'll think about maybe health overall and how they want to make some shifts. But they say to themselves, well, I'll just start next year. Well, I'll just start in January, and that's when I'll commit to it. But here's the thing I want to tell you, and this is what I want to empower you to remember. Having healthy habits at the core of what we do in our day-to-day is what can help us show up as our best selves, feel grounded in our days, really essentially enjoy the season that we're in to the best of our ability, right? Those healthy habits are the core of how our bodies feel and how our brains feel from the inside out. So if I can encourage you with one thing, it would be to start now with some of these health focuses, right? Movement, nutrition, hydration, sleep, unplugging. Pick one of them, right? Start simple, start small, and do something that's going to help you build momentum through the holidays and then into the next year as you think about attacking your goals and getting after what you want to maybe change for your health. This is something that I like to talk about not only in my own life with my husband and in our family, but I also talk about it with my clients. And again, I want to talk about it with you too. This idea that we need healthy habits at the core. It really makes a world of difference for our inside out wellness. And I want to encourage you to know, this is the thing to figure out how to prioritize and make the time for, not the thing to put on the back burner or just get to later because you're so overwhelmed or because there's so much going on. The reality is life is always happening, right? There's always some level of chaos, unpredictability. There's always something that we're going to have to figure out how to manage. There's always new hurdles, new challenges. And so the holiday season is actually really good practice for all of us to figure out, how can I get consistent with small health focuses and little habits in order to, build on them over time and essentially create them into such a second nature thing that they're always a part of your day-to-day. They just innately become something that you do, right? Because it's something that helps you stay grounded. It helps you feel fulfilled and energized. It helps you just feel good in the skin you're in, okay? So I hope this podcast spoke to you in some way today. Don't forget to take care of yourself this holiday season. Simple habits over time add up to huge, big change. Don't discount the value in taking small steps now and how that can really help you feel good as we tackle the next couple weeks of 2023 and get into 2024 one day at a time, right? Thank you so much for being here. If you could do me a favor and leave a review on the podcast, share this with your network, someone that you feel like would get some level of value out of this message today. I am so incredibly grateful for all of you and for the opportunity to connect. Don't ever hesitate to reach out if there's a topic or something else you'd like me to talk about. It is such a privilege to do this work, and I'm so incredibly grateful for you. Never forget that your peace of mind matters. I'll see you in the next one.